There are places in this world. They are clearly visible on the map. Their coordinates are known, but going there is not allowed. These places aren't lost. They aren't myths. They weren't closed by mistake. They were sealed on purpose. Some protect information, some protect the past, and some protect the future of humanity. Every place you'll see in this video is a door. But these doors were not meant to be opened. They exist to stay closed. There are places in the world, officially acknowledged, yet almost nothing is truly known about them. Area 51 is one of those places. Located in the middle of the Nevada desert in the United States, it appears on maps as an ordinary military base. But this base is one of the most secretive locations on Earth. For decades, the US government denied that Area 51 even existed, until 2013. Before that year, the official statement was simple: there is no such place as Area 51. But people noticed something strange. Satellite images of the area were constantly blurred. Aircraft approaching the region were forced to change course. Roads leading there suddenly ended without explanation. And most importantly, anyone who came too close was stopped by armed guards. So what was really there? According to official statements, Area 51 is a testing site for secret military aircraft, stealth planes, radar-invisible prototypes, experimental technology. But that explanation never satisfied anyone, because those who worked there were required to sign lifetime non-disclosure agreements before they ever spoke. And some people did speak. Some claimed that extraterrestrial vehicles were studied inside the base. After the 1947 Roswell incident, they said recovered objects were transported directly to Area 51. A few former workers even claimed they had seen non-human entities. The government denied everything. But here's what's unsettling. The area surrounding Area 51 is not just a restricted zone. It is a deadly restricted zone. Warning signs clearly state, unauthorized entry may result in the use of lethal force. Meaning if you cross the line, you're not just arrested, you could disappear. Even today, approaching Area 51 is nearly impossible. Drones are taken down, cameras are shut off, internet signals disappear. And still, no one truly knows what's happening inside. Maybe it's just advanced military technology, or maybe it's something humanity was never meant to know. But one thing is certain, Area 51 exists on the map, but it is closed to humanity. There are places in this world, not built to escape humanity, but to preserve it. The Svalbard Seed Vault is exactly such a place. Located in the Svalbard archipelago of Norway, just a few hundred kilometers from the North Pole, it is built deep inside a mountain. From the outside, it looks like an ordinary door. But behind that door, the future of the world is stored. This structure is often called the Doomsday Vault, because inside it, seeds from nearly every agricultural crop on Earth are preserved. These seeds are protected so they can survive wars, pandemics, nuclear disasters, and even the collapse of human civilization itself. The location of the vault is no coincidence. Svalbard is geopolitically neutral. It has a very low risk of earthquakes, and most importantly, the ground remains frozen all year long. So even if the power goes out, the seeds will not spoil. The vault lies about 130 meters underground, protected by steel doors, blast-resistant walls, and motion sensors. But here's what makes it truly fascinating. No one can enter the vault alone. Norway holds the keys, but the ownership of the seeds belongs to different countries, which means the world must trust each other. Inside the vault, there are over 1 million seed samples. This represents thousands of years of agricultural knowledge stored in a single location. But what makes Svalbard unsettling is not what it contains, it's why it was built. This vault was not created because everything is going well, but because everything might go wrong. Humanity accepted its own end as a possibility, and prepared a plan B. Many people ask the same question: what are we waiting for? Global warming? A massive war? Or a disaster we don't even have a name for yet? The Svalbard Seed Vault doesn't answer these questions, but it makes one thing very clear. If one day the world has to begin again, the key is here. It exists on the map, but entering it depends on humanity's darkest day. There are places in the world not undiscovered by humans, but deliberately left alone. North Sentinel Island is one of them. Located in the Indian Ocean, near the Andaman Islands of India, it belongs officially to India. In satellite images, it looks like an ordinary green island. But this island is one of the most inaccessible places on Earth, because the people who live here have completely rejected contact with the outside world. The Sentinelese tribe. They have lived in total isolation from modern civilization for thousands of years. Their language is unknown. Their culture cannot be decoded. Their population cannot be accurately estimated. And most importantly, they accept no one. Boats that approach the island are met with arrows. Helicopters are attacked with stones. Drones are brought down. These attacks are not driven by fear. They are a message. You do not belong here. The Indian government takes this message very seriously. That's why the island is under military protection. There is a 5-kilometer exclusion zone. Anyone who crosses this boundary is committing a crime. But this ban is not to protect the island. It is to protect the tribe. Because the Sentinelese people could be wiped out by even the smallest microbe from the outside world. A simple flu could mean the end of their society. There have been attempts in the past. Researchers left gifts. They offered food. But every time the answer was the same: arrows. In 2018, a missionary who illegally entered the island lost his life. The world talked about it, but the island remained silent. Today, North Sentinel Island is the only place on Earth where human isolation is actively enforced by law. Going there is forbidden. Landing is forbidden. Contact is forbidden. Because some cultures should never be discovered. Some people should be left where they are. And some places exist on the map, but are closed to humanity. There are pieces of knowledge in this world, not hidden because they were forgotten, but because they were never meant to be known. The Vatican's secret archives are said to house exactly such knowledge. Located in the very heart of the Vatican, beneath churches and museums, behind locked doors, these archives contain approximately 80 kilometers of shelving. That means the documents stored here span more than 1,000 years of human history. But the word secret is actually misleading. Their Latin name is Archivum Secretum Vaticanum. Secretum does not mean hidden, it means private. And yet, the number of people allowed inside is extremely limited. Only selected scholars with special permission can access a very small portion of the archives. The rest remains closed. So what lies inside? Personal letters written by popes, records of medieval trials, documents related to the Crusades, transcripts from the trials of the Knights Templar, and of course, the most controversial claim of all, texts that never made it into the Bible. Some researchers believe that documents describing the life of Jesus beyond the known narratives are stored here. There are even claims that writings about contact with non-human or extraterrestrial beings exist within the archives. The Vatican denies these allegations, but one fact remains undisputed. The archives have never been fully open to the public. From time to time, announcements are made that documents from a certain period have been released. But this is like a single drop from an ocean. Some files have remained locked away for centuries, and the reasons for their secrecy are never explained. Trying to enter without authorization is not only illegal, it is impossible. Multiple layers of security, armed guards, and constant surveillance are in place. But the strongest form of protection is not the door. It is the knowledge itself. Because some truths, once revealed, shake belief systems. They rewrite history, they shift power. Perhaps that is why the Vatican's secret archives remain one of the most protected places on Earth. They exist on the map, but what they contain does not yet belong to humanity. There are places in this world that begin to disappear the moment humanity discovers them. Lascaux Cave is one of those places. Located in the south of France, it was discovered completely by accident in 1940. Inside the cave were wall paintings dating back nearly 17,000 years. Bison, horses, deer, hunting scenes, symbols and markings whose meanings remain unknown even today. These paintings are considered some of the oldest known artworks in human history. After its discovery, Lascaux was open to the public, and that was the mistake. Thousands of visitors entered the cave. They breathed, they sweated, they took photographs, and no one realized something crucial. Even human breath was deadly to these paintings. Carbon dioxide, humidity, and heat began to damage the pigments on the walls. Mold and fungi quickly appeared. The images started to fade slowly, but relentlessly. As a result, in 1963, Lascaux was completely closed. From that day on, entry to the cave was forbidden. Today, only a very small number of scientists are allowed to enter the original Lascaux Cave, and only for short periods of time. What visitors can see now is not the original, but an exact replica, Lascaux II and Lascaux IV. The real cave, however, remains in darkness. What makes this story unsettling is this: these paintings survived for thousands of years without damage. But in just a few years of contact with modern humans, they began to deteriorate. Lascaux does not show how advanced humanity has become. It shows how dangerous it can be. Sometimes touching means destroying. Sometimes seeing means killing. That is why Lascaux exists on the map, but it is closed to human breath. There are places in this world where we know what they are, but not why they exist. Pine Gap is one of them. Located in the heart of the Australian desert, deep in the outback, far from any major city, its official name is the Joint Defense Facility Pine Gap, a military intelligence base jointly operated by the United States and Australia. From the outside, it looks ordinary, a cluster of white domes rising from the desert. But beneath those domes lie some of the most advanced surveillance systems on Earth. According to official statements, Pine Gap's mission is simple: to monitor satellite communications, to detect missile tests, to track weapons systems, to provide early warning. But what makes Pine Gap truly unsettling is its reach. From this single location, a vast portion of the world can be observed. Phone signals, radio waves, satellite transmissions. According to some claims, even parts of global internet traffic pass through here. Pine Gap is considered one of the most critical nodes in the global surveillance network. That is why it is one of the most heavily guarded facilities in the world. Approaching it is forbidden. Photography is forbidden. Details on maps are limited. Those who work here undergo extreme security screenings and sign lifetime non-disclosure agreements. But the real question remains: if Pine Gap exists only for defensive purposes, why is it so secretive? Some experts believe the data collected here is used to select targets in military operations, which means Pine Gap does not merely observe, it decides. If something happens anywhere in the world today, Pine Gap may already know, but you don't, because this facility doesn't exist to store information. It exists to control it. It exists on the map, but the truth behind it is closed to everyone. None of the places you saw in this video exist by accident. They all exist on the map. They are all real. And they are all closed to humanity. Some protect information. Some protect the past. Some protect the future. Some were sealed to keep humans out. Others were sealed to protect humanity itself. But they all share one thing in common. They are about control. Control of knowledge. Control of contact. Control of memory. And control of power. Area 51 hides the unknown. Svalbard locks away tomorrow. North Sentinel protects the untouched. The Vatican chooses history. Chernobyl shows the cost of mistakes. Lascaux erases human presence. And Pine Gap watches the present. Maybe the real issue isn't that these places are forbidden. The real question is this: if these places are closed, what is being hidden from us? Or worse, what are we not ready to know?